So, lads, today we're going to be talking a little bit about one of the things that a lot of fans seem to be very concerned about when it comes to what we saw in training camp footage yesterday. So, this is again a sign that the Fever are massive. That's all I'm going to say is, if you guys have not seen, there's 108,000 people have watched this video in 19 hours, and like this is more than like 90% of highlight videos get in the WNBA. From Scott Agnes posting it. Like almost everything is from that. Thank you, Scott. And again, a huge shout out to Scott Agnes. But I will say there is one thing that people are quite concerned about. And first of all, it's not Caitlin Clark lying on the ground here for this entire possession, which, yeah, it's an odd one. But if you guys are looking at certain things, like I'm concerned about some things. Like my concern mostly would be like Kelsey Mitchell kind of going dribble. But there are a couple of things people are concerned about, and it's layups. So you can see in this clip right here, Kelsey Mitchell, it is an ill-advised layup. She's not open for this, but she doesn't even get to the backboard on that one. And it's actually Bree Turner has missed a couple of layups. Lexi Hull is missing layups. Like Lexi Hull's really struggling layups. She obviously gets swatted on this one. That's not her fault. Good recovery defense by Natasha Howard there. Does Ejin makes the layup. But if you're looking at starter team, like the amount of times Caitlin Clark sets up Bree Turner perfectly. I think this possession Bree Turner makes the layup here. Like she makes the layup. She makes an extremely tough layup in fairness. But like there's a couple of possessions where Caitlin's kind of pushing it, gets it out to DeWanna Bonner, finds Bree Turner, missed layup. Caitlin's again running the show, burns Yvonne Ejim. Yvonne Ejim actually does a good job recovering. Caitlin gets by her again, finds Bree Turner again, and Bree Turner misses the layup long again. And if you just look throughout the drills, like I don't have timestamps for them, but in just like normal drills, they're like missing layups semi-frequently in just like in drills like this where players end up getting layups. Well, this is obviously a jump shot one, but especially like Lex seems to miss a couple of open layups, and it's something that obviously a lot of there are people quite concerned about, missing layups, and I don't think that concern is something to care too much about in preseason. I mean that I don't think it's a concern because one, it's the WNBA. There's gonna be a lot of layups missed. It's a thing. There's going to be layups missed. Like if you watch any level of basketball, teams do tend to miss layups the lower they are to the rim, and like unless people are coming up and yamming it, like dunking almost every time in the NBA, you're gonna see a lot of missed layups. Especially like again, as someone who coaches like probably not the lowest level of pro, but like extremely low level pro basketball in the league I coach in, because there's not that many freak athletic Irish kids that are yamming. Actually, there's a lot more now than there used to be, but missing layups was quite common because they're easy, but they're not guarantees. So you're going to see quite a bit of that as well. And like we know again who the culprits are. Like Lexi Hull's not very good at the out layups, but Lexi Hull's very good as a corner spot up player, and that's I think maybe what her role is going to be. Like she can cut pretty well, but she's not a great layup scorer. Obviously, Caitlin's a good finisher at the basket. DeWanna Bonner's a good finisher. Natasha Howard's an exceptional finisher. Kelsey Mitchell, I think she's just faster. I don't think she's a great finisher, but I think she's just faster. But it's one thing that a lot of people are kind of really concerned about. Like I'm seeing around like people going out of their way to like say, you know what, oh, it's the layups, the Fever missing layups. And I don't think it's a concern, because I'd be more concerned if the players weren't getting in the right positions. I'd be more concerned because let's be real. If a player is missing layups once the season starts, they're not playing. Like, you're not going to consistently miss open layups for a team that's looking to win a championship and play. It's just not happening. It is just not happening. Especially when you are being spoon-fed layups. Like, it's one thing trying to back down and finish over somebody and being very poor at that. But like Caitlin Clark spoon feeds people layups. Like open layups. They just need to catch it and put the ball in. And they're the kind of inexcusable misses. And from what we saw yesterday, again, Bree Turner appears to be in the seven player rotation. It appears that it's going to be Bree Turner and Sophie Cunningham first two off the bench, which in fairness makes a lot of sense because Bree Turner, it allows you to play Aaliyah Boston instead of 35, maybe 28 a game. And it means Aaliyah Boston can go harder for those 28 because if you look at Aaliyah Boston, she's getting up and down a lot quicker. So it could really help the team doing something like that. And then Sophie Cunningham in for Natasha Howard. Because again, you want Natasha Howard to be able to play both ends of the floor. And at this stage in her career, she can't play 35 both ends of the floor. So that's obviously something. But yeah, a lot of people are concerned about a lot of Caitlin Clark's passes being missed. Look, there's no Christy Wallace on this team. It's not quite Christy Wallace bad. Like Christy Wallace would pump fake open layups. Do you remember Christy Wallace when she pump faked the alley oop against the Sky? When, like, if you look, I think it's one of the basketball comedy pages where someone talks over it. Early in Caitlin Clark's game is like, oh, it's an easy. Caitlin Clark passes like easy assist. I'm just gonna miss this layup and miss wide open layup, and then Caitlin Clark kind of lobbed the ball to her and she pump faked the the alley oop, and no one was within 10 feet of her, and then just got scared and threw it up. Or Christy Wallace's attempt at a reverse layup against the Sky last year. Oh, Christy Wallace against the Sky was just not a fun time. It was just not a fun time. She was so bad. Like, I don't hate Christy Wallace. She seemed like a good teammate. She was so bad at basketball. She was so bad. I watched her in the Olympics. She was so bad. But yeah, there's no Christy Wallace on this team. Like, it's not going to be as bad as last year. Trust me on that one. It's not going to be as bad as last year. The bigs will figure it out. Like, it's not like Bree Turner is that bad a finisher in general. She just missed two. She'll get used to catching the passes. We saw it early last season. The players, once they get used to the passes coming at them, they're going to finish the ball and finish the pass. And do you want to know what I think is better this year? Is their hands. They're catching the ball. The players have the hands to catch the ball and put it in. I think that is more important, in my opinion, than it's more important to see now that they're able to catch the ball and score layups. And ideally by the end of the year, do both. But like, if you don't have the coordination to catch the ball, you'll never work with Caitlin Clark. I would assume professional basketball players can figure out how to convert from a catch into a layup. So anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. Obviously, it is one of these weird prevailing thoughts or like prevailing topics that keeps coming up, and it's a concern. And I will say this, I wouldn't even be concerned in preseason if they're missing layups. Like, I'm not concerned about makes or misses till July. I'm not. I'm more, especially when I coach, I'm more of a process-based coach. I'm more of a, like, you do the right things, you're going to win most of the time. And obviously, on a game-by-game basis, that's not a good philosophy to have. But I fully believe that throughout the totality of a season, it's more important to do the right things than it is to have the right outcome, especially early on. Like, if you're you're better off doing the right things and losing in the first 10 games. And you're better off, doing the right things and doing what will win you a championship and going 6-4 in your first 10 games versus relying on stuff that's hard to relying on individual greatness and hero ball, and you happen to get hot and go 8-2. Like, I'd rather the team with the correct process go 6-4, with the sustainable process go 6-4, and the team with an unsustainable process go 8-2. But yeah, trust the process. Caitlin's finding people for open layups. They're going to make the layups eventually because they're not fumbling the ball. It's not like Melissa Smith where it struggled to catch the ball at times. Like, they're going straight up. The ball's just not going in the basket. It's day one of training camp. Let's not be like, there are things to be concerned about. Like, again, a lot of Sydney Colson stuff is, I'm really concerned about Sydney Colson, but I'm not concerned in any way about the layups. But anyway, I'll see you guys.